everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to SAVE, a show brought to you today by Citizens Against Family Violence with Jess and
Deb.
Today's title of the show, today we're going to talk about domestic violence and holiday depression. Considering the holidays are coming up, I feel like this would be a good subject for today. Now, depression affects thousands of people almost every day, but statistics show that it's an increase during the holidays. The holidays seem to add that burden and really push people over the edge. So Deb, why do you feel, why is it that the holidays bring depression to a lot of people in our community?
Well, there's so many different reasons, Jesse, when you think about the holiday, it's not funny at all. I'm just thinking about the holidays, it's like should be a joyous time, and I can reflect on happy times with my family, so I'm like, I want everyone to experience that, and of course, everyone doesn't.
Right.
And in our area, because, our economy is so bad right now, there's no jobs, people are worried about providing gifts,
Right.
good meals for their family, that they can afford to put on the table and just celebrate and have a good time. So those added pressures bring out a lot of concerns during the holidays. And my gosh, we just had Veterans Day.
Right.
And you think about those wonderful people who served our country, men and women, who came back here and have to deal with a lot of depression and things going on in their lives too. So we have Veterans Day here, Thanksgiving's right around the corner, and then of course Christmas.
Christmas, the big one.
Yes. So.
But one of those biggest problems is domestic violence, and that ties in a lot of times with those things you're talking about, the financial problems and I don't know what's wrong with you today. So it's not a happy topic to talk about, but it's reality. The holiday seems to push people over the edge. Calls for domestic violence and suicide rates always increase over the holiday period. Now, suicide, how do you feel that ties in with domestic violence or during the holidays?
Well, a lot of it ties in hand to hand, like domestic violence. When people think that, they think, okay, they're just going to go off because it's the holidays. It's not that. It's a gradual process. A lot of times they've already been in it. It's just that it intenses around those times because one person or the other can't provide, or something's going on to where they feel, okay, she's going to leave. The new year's about to start. He's going to leave. She's going to leave. I'm going to be alone.
Right.
So that sets in. And a lot of times their mindset will get to the point, well, if the person does leave me, he or she leaves me, I have nothing else to live for.
Right.
So that's when you start getting suicidal thoughts come into the mindset. They start thinking about ways of, just leaving and getting rid of the pain. They want the pain to stop.
Right.
All the uncertainties of not knowing what's going to happen next. And then you have some people who feel like, if I can't provide for my family myself, then I don't want them to be here anymore.
Right.
And that's when we start having people think about suicide and then homicides go along with that as well. And that's something we really want to make sure that people understand, that it does happen, and it happens right here in our community.
Right.
And the best thing we can do is educate people on it. Jesse, we know we're not going to stop it all.
No.
We understand that.
We
We
can
can try. We definitely can try. But we do want to give people the right tools, the right mindset of knowing that, we're not going to judge you. Others may. But in our business, you and I, we know the cycles of abuse.
Right.
We know the signs. We know that people are hurting, and they're hurting in silence. And like right around this time of the year, it just comes out even more.
Right.
So we have to, by this wonderful show we have, put the information out there, who they can get in contact with, that what you're feeling is normal for your situation.
Right.
Not for everybody else's, but your situation. And that's very important for people to know, that it's geared around you, the individual. You'll have family members saying, just get over it. Come on, be happy. It's Thanksgiving. Everyone's coming home for the holidays. What's the matter with you? They don't understand. They just can't shake that. It's not something you just put on the shelf until everyone's gone.
Right.
When you're in that,
Most definitely.
that depression mode, it's there, and you have to go through the whole process.
Now, statistics in recent years tell us that those committing suicide are the highest population will be males. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, and I think the age group for that runs 45 to 65. And there's a reason for that, too. You have people, women as well, who go through midlife crisis.
Right.
And once again, you can have people who worked in jobs for 10, 15 years, and that security is no longer there. Those jobs are gone. And so they're faced, once again, with the uncertainties. What's going to happen to us now?
Feel like they can't provide for their family.
Right.
So
As they're getting
tension in the home, too.
tension, they're getting older. Are they going to be employable somewhere else? Who's going to really pick me up at 45? And
Right.
got these kids coming out of college. How am I going to compete? So it just builds up the tension building. And then next thing you know, they don't. I'm not saying all of them. Some don't mean to hit out, but that's all they know. If it's repeated patterns from their childhood,
Right, exactly.
a lot of times they repeat what they know. And if they're on the defense, feel like they're backed in the corner, they're going to come out fighting.
Right.
So, and that's how we end up with a lot of domestic violence cases as well. You hear people say all the time, I didn't mean for it to happen this way.
But I was just stressed out.
I was stressed out.
Overstressed.
I didn't realize I hit her that hard or hit him that hard. I didn't realize when she fell that she was going to hit her head and something happened, you know, paralyzed or whatever it may be. So they're not in the mindset of actually going out wanting to hurt. It's striking out at the fear that they have, the anxieties, the uncertainties. That's what it's all about.
Right. Now, how does, I know we talked about post-traumatic stress syndrome on the show before, and we'll get into that a little bit more today, but how does that play into to this situation?
It plays a lot. It's a big part of it. First, to identify it. They need to identify exactly what is post-traumatic stress syndrome. What are the effects of it? Is it even me? You know, some people don't believe it's them. You know, that's only for women. It used to be that way. People only thought it was women who just had children.
Right.
And at that time, it was not considered a mental illness. But of course, through you know, research and things like that, we have come to the conclusion that it is a mental illness.
Right, and a lot of people come back from war, so it's not just females.
Exactly.
A lot of people come back from war with that diagnosis now because they're not able to change that life pattern. So.
And some people have suppressed it for over the years. You know, it's something that happened. It's a traumatic event that's happened in your life, and we've either, you know, dealt with it to a point to where we've got it suppressed, or we keep on, you know, letting it come out in anger issues or different ways. But once we identify that there is an issue, then we can kind of like get to the bottom line of it.
Right.
When did this happen? How did it affect you? Were you allowed to talk about it? You know, and people don't get that opportunity to talk about it. You hear the old saying we always talk about, people don't talk about what happened at home.
Right.
Don't tell anybody, don't tell anybody,
Right.
but we can't
Always
heal
family
them.
secrets,
See,
right.
family secrets, and those family secrets are definitely a hindrance to people's recovery. So once we identify where their trauma is, was it something happened when they were an adult, childhood, war, things of that nature, and even car accidents.
Right.
You have people afraid to get back in cars after something's happened, and that triggers into their adult life,
Right.
especially for a man.
Right.
I can't drive my family because I'm scared to drive.
Right.
But we don't know who's just in a car accident years ago.
Right.
So a lot of that ties in together, Jesse, with domestic violence and holiday seasons and, you know, situations like that as well.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break because I want to ask you some more questions about PTSD just to make sure everyone has a clear understanding of what it is and stuff. So when we come back, maybe we'll get into a little bit more about what the dynamics are of PTSD and who is affected by this during the holiday season.
At Memorial Hospital, we know something about miracles. We see them happen in healthcare every day. Diseases are conquered, patients are healed, and new generations of our community are born. While we may see marvels of technology and wondrous advances in medicine, Memorial Hospital cannot forget the true miracles are the dedicated people whose care and commitment to service excellence make a difference in the lives of Martinsville, Henry County residents, and in our neighboring communities, one patient at a time.
You're watching BTW 21, your neighborhood network, the pride of Martinsville and Henry County.
Tommy Houston, known for award-winning ribs on the Food Network, now has slow smoked chicken wings, the perfect side dish for any party or family event. Try the new barbecue nachos, crisp chips, smothered in barbecue, and all the extras. Pigs R Us and Checker Pig, two great locations, same great food. Local high school football only on your neighborhood network, Monday nights at 9. Wake up with the Sirloin House in Martinsville. A delicious morning breakfast buffet is a great way to start your day. Ham, eggs, bacon, just like home cooking. Lunch and dinner specials, and conveniently located on Commonwealth Boulevard. Wake up with the Sirloin House in Martinsville.
Hello, I'm Creed Taylor with Taylor's Tax and Financial Center. We're here to professionally serve you. We are proven, prompt, professional, and confidential. We provide accounting services, expert income tax preparation, retirement, and financial services. Come see us at Taylor's Tax and Financial Center, 15 Henry Street, Martinsville, Virginia. We're here to professionally serve you.
You're watching BTW 21, your neighborhood network, the pride of Martinsville and Henry County.
Are you looking for a quality and trustworthy jewelry repair service? Well, look no further. Eggleston's Jewelry Repair has been serving the Martinsville-Henry County area for nearly 22 years. We specialize in ring sizing, chain repairs, stone settings, engraving, watch batteries, and band repair. Eggleston's Jewelry Repair also wants to buy your unwanted, broken, and outdated 10-carat and 14-carat scrap gold jewelry. Eggleston's Jewelry Repair. Come and see us.
Get the party started. Call King Kids Fun Rentals at 806-7976.
All right, welcome back to SAVE. So Deb, I know we spoke briefly about post-traumatic stress. Can you give us some more details on its dynamics? Who is affected by PTSD?
Yes, you know, the Tucker statistics tell us about 8 to 21% of all people in a serious relationship will go through some form of it if they're already in a domestic situation.
Okay.
Meaning if a couple's together and they already have tension building in the home, they're more than likely to be exposed to that.
Okay.
Whoever's the abuser and the one being abused. So what we do in our career, Jesse, what we do is try to identify those people when they seek us out for help, give them safety planning, tips on how to stay safe in the home if they choose not to leave, and a lot of people don't, and we know that. Post-traumatic stress syndrome takes on a lot of forms and happens, like I said, it could be a very gradual process or just instantaneously from something prior.
Right.
And it's really hard for us, by not being doctors, to diagnose anyone, but we do know signs and symptoms. We look for those, and we're trained in seeking those out and helping people understand them. The main thing we want people to understand is that it is a mental illness.
That's what I was going to say. So this is an illness, not just a symptom.
Right, it is
That's
a
what
mental
people need to
illness.
realize that it's actually an illness.
It has taken some time for it to even be recognized as a mental illness because, like I said before, they wanted to keep it mainstream. It was women who just had babies or just depressed. They don't know how to handle the situation. But we've learned through doctors and researchers that that is so far from the truth. It's a chemical imbalances and things are going on in the mindset geared around traumatic events. So once we understand what the event was, we can start helping them to better focus, get around it, deal with it, and move on from it. Now, is that easy? No.
Absolutely not.
Some people might take a week, some people might take a lifetime, and some people may never reach a level of so-called normalcy or what they might think is normal. And that's okay too, as long as they get the proper medications that they need or the proper help they have to deal with it and not be ashamed of what you're going through.
Right.
Because if once they're treated the proper way, they can deal with it to curb domestic violence altogether in the home, so our children don't grow up in the same thing. So if there's tension in the home like that, of course, the kids are not going to be stable.
Right. And that
we
plays
don't-
in a lot of other parts too.
Bullying, poor health choices, poor relationship choices for our young men and women who get out here and do the same thing because that's what they know. And we want to break that. We want people to understand that they can get help. The Harvard Medical School in Belmont, Massachusetts said that the more they get this information out there, the better they can treat people as well. And they're telling people to come in, even if you think you may have a slight chance of something going wrong, that you're not sure. Am I depressed? Am I depressed? You know, what is it around? Why do I feel this way? Is it normal to feel this way? It is for your situation.
Right.
Now, it might not be normal for me, but for the next person, yeah, it's normal because that's what you grew up in. And if we can get people out of the feeling ashamed and feeling guilty about a disorder, the better they are. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You know, there is help out there.
Right, definitely so. And if we run across people that have these symptoms, well, of course we refer them to someone that can diagnose
Exactly.
them with this and that can further help them. But just getting that initial, finding out what's going on, getting that background, finding out what's going on in that home and that situation, a lot of times makes it a lot easier. Now, getting back to the domestic violence and the holiday depression, of course, in any other situation, you know, domestic violence is either a lot of times blamed on, oh, it was because I was drunk, or oh, because I was under the influence, or oh, I'm stressed out because of the holidays, when in actuality we know that the holiday didn't make the domestic violence.
That's
it's
right.
usually already going on in the situation, but the escalated stress is what brings the violence into the holidays. And I know I read over a few stories about, you know, different police calls that come in during that time of, you know, arguing over who's going to carve the turkey. You know, there's already that tension in the house.
Exactly.
The turkey really didn't matter, but it was the point that the tension, the holidays,
Right.
you know, the financial situation. So it's not actually the money or the economy, it's already tension in the home.
It's already tension there,
That
and
just
they'll use that
escalates.
to build off of.
Right.
And what another thing they'll do too is people who have experienced abuse as a child. Of course, the holiday means family comes home, everyone's together. If you haven't dealt with those issues that happened in your past, and everyone comes home and they're thinking everything is fine, and you're not thinking it's fine,
Exactly.
you digress back to those times when you were younger. So you
Right.
have that stress building up as well. Okay, they're right here in my living room. They're all smiling and laughing. What about me?
Right.
What happened to me when I was 11 when this stuff went on?
Right.
At dinner time when you hit mom, you know, or mom threw the potatoes at you, whatever it may be. What happened to me? No one dealt with that. So every year we just go on in our regular routine, we sit down, we have dinner again, and that person is still hurting because they haven't had a chance to heal or deal with what happened before.
Right.
So all of those are tension builders, and they all relate, you know, family goes home, you're left in the house with your immediate family, and who's available for the abuse? Whoever's there in that home.
Right.
So they usually
Well,
get
and
the
a lot of
brunt of
times, like just in the same kind of sense that you're saying that, a person might not be experiencing the violence as an adult, but because the holiday was always a bad time because they grew up in violence, and holiday was always stressful, parents were always fighting, you know, there's always tension in the home then, the holidays isn't, you know, for me, holidays is a happy time to get my
Right,
family together
exactly.
and enjoy the kids happy and all that good stuff, but some people, that's like the worst thing they dread. They dread the
Exactly.
holidays, and so many memories come back, so.
And sometimes with that, just we have to be careful when we're talking to them as allied professionals to not say things such as, you know, triggers. There's triggers. Things like, you know, well, you should be happy. So you're telling me to embrace the abuse.
Right.
So we have to be very careful on the words that we select to talk to them when we're talking about that. We don't want to say you should be happy around this time when they're dealing with something.
Right.
We need to be more empathetic and say, you know, we understand that you're dealing with something around this time of the year. Let us help you with that. So that holidays can maybe go back to being a happy time. You know,
Right.
and even with our vets, you know, we want them to understand we appreciate what they did for our country, but we know that they're still hurting, and to seek out the proper help that they need.
Right.
And it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. So Deb, so what if we think that, like what if someone was to think one of their loved ones was dealing with depression, or that they noticed some signs of domestic abuse? How can they help? How can they help that person?
The very first thing to do is be non-judgmental. You don't want to be accusatory when you're talking to them like, I see you have a problem. You don't want to do that.
Right.
That makes them feel like, okay, everyone's watching me as this
It's
person.
visible.
Right, it's
written on my
visible.
head, everybody can see it.
I'm not right anymore. I don't fit into society. We don't want that. You know, I'm concerned about you. You seem a little different this week. You're not talking as much. Are you okay? Just something that's comforting, opens the door of dialogue so you two can talk to each other. And then once they do reveal to you, maybe just a little bit or just enough to get your foot through the door, then start giving resources. You know, I know a place, Citizens Against Family Violence, where you can call anonymously and
Right.
tell them what's going on, you know, Piedmont Community Services, Alcohol Anonymous if that's what they're dealing with, you know, different things. Whatever it is, we need to be ready when we have these conversations with the tools in our hand of who to call. You don't want to wait, well, let me think about the number. Well, there is a place I heard of. No, you have to be prepared going into these conversations. You don't want to go halfway.
Right.
They need the resources then because you might lose the opportunity to go back and call.
Exactly right. Might not get that opportunity again.
Right. You know, they might be in a manic moment right then and there. And if we have the proper tools and numbers for them to use, they'll utilize them.
And unfortunately, that's how we're able to get, get contact with people is when it's in a manic situation, when something
Exactly.
really bad has happened. And if you don't catch them right then and there, a lot of times you might not get the chance
Right.
ever again,
Right.
to be honest.
Then we read the paper and then something happened.
Right.
And then we'll start doubting ourselves. Did I take the right opportunity to, you know, handle this? And that's something that's too. Personal care for ourselves is very important during this time because we know we're going to hear a lot of stories of people's tragedies. So we as well as allied professionals have to make sure we maintain our self-care
Right, most
so we can
definitely.
better help them because we're both in crisis. Neither one of us get healed.
Right.
You know, we just go on repeating the cycle.
Right,
So
definitely.
it's very important that we take care of ourselves. You know, we have each other we can talk with, but we want them to know they can come and talk to us as well.
That's
And
right.
we're going to work this thing out and get everybody hopefully on the right track to
Yes.
healing.
Holidays are supposed to be fun times and you know,
Yes.
happiness and love for most people. But I mean, the holidays also, they do trigger the violence and they do trigger the depression. And by calling for help for someone that needs, I mean, you could save a life. You could possibly save a life
Most
by
definitely.
getting someone out of these situations. I mean, also if people feel suicidal, I mean, that's, or feel violent during the holidays. I mean, sometimes people feel more stressed out because of the
Enraged.
stress, feel more enraged and or more, like I said, down and suicidal. So.
And then the bad part is when they don't really know why. They have hid it for so long that it became normal to hide it that they're not sure why they're angry. And you'll ask someone, why are you so angry? I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
You know, it's in there. We just got to help them get it out. And it's hard to recall those things like that when you've been hurt and stuff went on that you want to forget. You know, and our mind is very good for shutting down and doing that, like when your car accident it shuts down. I remember it happens. It's a survival mechanism. But we want to get to the point of being able to bring it out in a healthy manner so they can deal with the issues at hand.
Right. Okay. Well, we're getting close to our time. Is there anything that, well, we got a few more minutes. Is there anything you'd like to say or touch on before we close up?
Well, I do want to say there's a lot of information on the internet.
Yes, definitely. You can
and
Google just about anything nowadays.
You can Google anything, but we want to make sure we're telling people to be careful of what they're Googling. Look at both sides. Don't just be so jaded to take one, the first thing that pops up and go with it. Because we're all human. Doctors are human. And you never know who wrote that information if they're going through something.
And right, if they even have any knowledge on it.
If they have knowledge on it, or if they're really going through it themselves, you know, have they touched on that basis? So that's why you call the allied professionals like ourselves and, you know, reach out to Action Alliance and places like that and the Piedmont services to make sure that you're in the right ballpark.
Most definitely.
Right. So, and once again, it's okay to say I need help. The worst thing you can do is not ask for help. You want to get it. You want it at all cost. And sometimes our own family members will come to us and have an issue. And,
Yes, definitely.
And it's hard to deal with your own family members. So it's best to outsource them to somebody else who has no connection to where they can be open and honest. Like, you know,
Right,
I
exactly.
see you're hurting. But sometimes a mom can't say it to a daughter.
Right.
Or to a son, I know that you're hurting. You just can't do that. So that's when you have those tools again that you can reach and say, you know what, maybe tonight you can make a call and just call these people and just see what's going on with you.
And just get some information.
Yeah.
Or at least get a plan together.
Just a
Most
plan
definitely.
together. Now we've acknowledged it though, it's out there, so they can't say we haven't talked about it.
Right.
It's out there. Once we get it out there, we're good. We can at least get our foot halfway in there.
Not a very happy topic, but I mean,
It's
it is
not.
the reality of the world now. And I mean, domestic violence is tearing up homes all across the world. And
All over, right here in our own
And a lot of
community.
times, I mean, you know, we can't make excuses for anyone, but, you know, people live in situations, or people's situations a lot of time affect that, but there's still no reason for domestic violence.
Right.
There's still no, you know, no excuse for it, but a lot of these daily struggles that we all go through in life do affect that and do play a big part in it, so.
That's why it's essential that they get the help that they need early on. And that's why we're going to have some more topics about children, bullying and things like that, how they can get help if they're in homes that have this going on, so they don't repeat the cycle.
Right, I can't wait to talk about that bullying maybe in the next couple of weeks, because that seems to be a huge problem in our schools in this area, the bullying. And just
Right.
basically, after talking to some of those kids, you find out that, I mean, they're going through so much at home, they don't know how else to act. So they're just going and picking a child to torture and be
Right.
mean to and stuff. And I mean, then that child alone might not be getting the love and stuff it needs at home. I mean, that child needs at home, so they might be getting, you know, violence on both ends, school and home. So
Right.
that plays a big part into that. So I look really forward to talking about that in the next couple of weeks, because it is a big problem in our
It really
community
is.
right now.
We
All
want to
right.
keep families together at all costs. That's our thing. We're not trying to tear families apart. Even in a domestic situation, families can stay together through
Right.
proper counseling and treatment. They can stay together. And that's what we want, healthy families.
Yeah,
where they
we're
can
not
be
here
together.
to separate all families or
No,
nothing
not
like
at all. And
that.
that's, some
Definitely.
people get that, you know, in their mind, oh, we got to go to court for protective order. They don't want us together. That's not it at all. We want
want
you
you to
to
be
understand,
safe.
safe and understand that you can be with someone who has things going on and not be hit, not be abused, not be
You can
verbally
be
abused.
stressed out and not hurt somebody. I mean,
Exactly. We do it
I'm
every day.
stressed out.
We do it every
Stressed
day.
out too, you know. But
We do.
all right. Anything else?
I think that's a wrap,
I
Jesse.
think that's a wrap too. Well, unfortunately, the holidays can often bring out the worst in people, unfortunately. And with everyone's help, we can hopefully make this holiday season a happy season for most. So stay safe, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.